Arkansas catcher, team captain, will be returning for a fourth year at the University of Arkansas, and is joining us right now on halftime. Casey, you out in Colorado? I was assuming you were back home in Centennial. Is that where you're talking to us from?
Yes, sir. Back home.
Back home. That's good. So, I mean, you've been home for a while. I know we've had you on the show since you've been out there. Just kind of describe what's been going on for you the last couple of weeks since the Major League Baseball draft ended, and you knew that you'd make a decision to come back to Arkansas.
Yeah, pretty much a lot of the same, man. We kind of and everything just because we got some time, but working out every day, trying to stay busy during all this.
Yeah, well, busy is a little difficult to do, I guess, when we're not quite sure what's going on. You're like my man SmackDown, who's my co-host here, because you always seem to, I don't think that you're optimistic in a way that is too optimistic, but you always seem to have like a smile, a little bit of a smile. You got an optimistic way of looking at things, and I know that before the draft, you were open about the thought that, look, if I don't get drafted, if they don't meet the dollar figure that I've put out there, then I am perfectly okay coming back to Arkansas for another year. I know how much you enjoy the experience there and what it's like to be a Razorback baseball player. So would it be safe to say that you might be disappointed, but at the same time, you've got a really good thing coming up in the future?
Well, yeah, absolutely. That was the big thing with that day was obviously it's one of the hardest things to do is just turn down your dream. And that's what I had to do that day just to see what was in the future. But just coming back to Arkansas as my plan B is, that's the best thing you can ask for. And, that day it kind of happened where the calls started coming in the third round, and you were hearing everyone out, but I just put such a high price, and my teammates in Arkansas, the coaches, and all the fans and the people of Arkansas that, when the price wasn't getting matched, it honestly just kind of made the decision for me. And,
so
I was going to come back to Arkansas.
So was it a situation where you told multiple teams that you had to tell multiple teams no? It sounds like you're talking about a lot of phone calls came in once that third round started.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to get into what teams, but it was definitely a bunch of phone calls being had, and we kind of knew into the fourth that the dollar figure wasn't going to get met. And we were fine with that. Obviously, it was tough, but we knew that coming back to Arkansas was the plan. Just I'll have to delay playing pro ball for another year, and I'll be coming into it or out of it with a national championship ring plan now.
Well, I certainly hope that is the case. Have you spoken with your coaches since the draft, and what sort of message, if so, did they deliver to you?
Yeah, I've pretty much talked to all of them. Obviously, they have a bunch going on with the high school guys, the guys they've lost, and the transfers they have to deal with. So everyone was kind of letting the dust settle, letting them figure out what they're going to do, and everyone's seeing excited. Obviously, we're all in the same boat. We're disappointed it didn't happen, but now we kind of move on, next best thing, and we come back and we play.
Speaking to Casey Opitz here on Halftime, Casey, you're talking about the transfers that could be coming in and different things like that, and I know me and Phil have talked about on numerous occasions next year's practices when everything, hopefully by next spring when you guys get back or next fall, I guess, for practices, but heading into the spring, practices for you guys are going to be absolutely ridiculous with the amount of talent between you coming back with some of this freshman class coming in and also the transfers that are coming in. We're going to have a talented roster on the hill next year, and that's going to make for some ridiculously awesome practices to watch.
Exactly, and that's what you want. You want a team that's going to compete against each other so that every situation that could happen Friday night SEC game, you've already been through it, and you're facing arms that you're going to see those Friday nights or Saturday nights. So that's what you want. You want a team that's going to compete against each other, that loves each other, that's going to fight for you when the times get tough, and that's what we got, and I'm really excited about it.
I think the cool thing for me watching the draft, and I know the Razorback Twitter account shared it also, was the high praise that Kyle Peterson shared about you during the draft, saying that you could hop behind any major league plate right now and be a starting catcher for any major league team right now. And I'm just curious, because I know we've talked about it numerous times as well, the catcher is probably the most important position for any baseball team. And I'm just curious, when did you start learning to kind of become the catcher that you are today?
It started pretty young. I think I was about 8 or 9 when I started catching, and neither one of my brothers were catchers. My dad wasn't a catcher. No one really knew how to catch, but my brothers would start asking their teammates, because they play pro ball and everything, just tips and what they do well, and we started watching tape on pro guys, so we kind of pieced it together, and then it was just kind of a natural thing for me to do. I picked up on it early. I really liked just being involved in every play, and the thinking that goes into it, the preparation, everything that goes into it. It grabbed me when I was young, and I've loved it ever since.
Was that probably some of where you found the most interest in playing catcher versus, say, the couple times that you've played first base, per se?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just catching something where I can be involved in everything. It's fun to play first or third, and I play all around just because that's what I kind of grew up doing with my brothers. But catcher was the only one to me that was, I got to be locked in on every play. And if I'm not, it could hurt somebody. So that was the fun part for me, is I get to be a part of every decision that's being made.
I have a feeling that one of the reasons that Dave Van Horn and Matt Hobbs love the idea of you coming back is because they get another coach on the field. It says a lot to me when any college baseball coach allows the catcher to call the pitches, because it's such a lot of coaches want to have control over stuff like that. You get the freedom to call pitches. What was the discussion like between you and Matt, or you and Dave, when they decided to hand those reins over to you? And how did you feel about what that meant for you?
Yeah, well, I think the big thing is it's not really being taught anymore, especially at the young levels. You have guys with the wristbands on, and we have the earpieces now, but it's just not really being taught. Even through the college level, people aren't talking about it as much. But my freshman year, I didn't call a lot of pitches, and then when I took over my sophomore year, Coach Hobbs kind of had a little say in it early on, and then once he realized that, obviously I have the best view, and we've talked about it, and he's told me that many times, that he wants me doing it just because I can see the adjustments the batter's making, or what the pitcher stuff's doing in a way that he can't. But it just means a lot to me, because that's something I've always worked on with my older brothers, which is how are we going to get a guy out? Pitcher's best stuff compared to the hitter's weakness, and all those things that go into it. So when I was finally able to take that over, it was big for me, because it was just all that work on that little thing paying off big time.
How do you view yourself coming into next season? Like when the team gathers up again, and we know these are going to be really incredible scrimmages and practices, and hopefully there's a season next year, and it's going to be a really talented team. But they'll be looking towards you as a team captain for whatever it is a team captain does. I know there's leadership and all of that, but as you're coming back and you've already had success for a year and for basically 2 years, and we already talked. You could have headed out to pro ball if you wanted, and a certain number was met. How do you think your stature for this team coming into next year? What do these players view you as, your teammates?
Obviously I want to be that captain role and that, that leadership role, but I think the biggest thing this year is me to kind of be that mediator, because we have so many different guys coming in from so many different, backgrounds. We got high school kids coming in. We got a kid coming in that should have been a senior. And then we got junior college guys. We got transfers. So for me, it's just, kind of making everyone blend. And the earlier you can do that, the easier it is going to be on the team. And that's going to be the kind of role I hope to take on, is just whoever needs me to do anything, I'll be there for them. And, we just got to kind of click early and become that family.
So let me ask you this. How good do you think next year's team can be? Let's put it just that simple. There's a ton of talent. There's a lot of other teams that are returning a ton of talent. How good can next year's team be? Because the expectations are always sky high for Arkansas baseball.
Yeah, exactly, as they should be. With what we've done in the past and the players we have coming back, the players we have coming in, they should be high. We're going to meet them. I know we're going to do that. And we say it every year that it's Omaha or bust. And this year especially, that's our goal. I think especially everyone's got that chip on their shoulder with last year. we got more to prove, and everyone thought we weren't the team we were last year because we went on that little skid. So I just know this team's going to be special. That's why I'm very excited to be a part of it. I know the fans of Arkansas are ready to get after it, so it's going to be a fun year.
What is one thing that you feel you need to improve on for next year to achieve success in college ball that you want and to go in the draft where you'd like to go to?
I'm just going to keep improving on everything. There's really nothing to me that would hold me back. That would have held me back this year. So I'm going to keep improving my game, keep being that leader, and I'm going to bring Omaha back to the Fayetteville. So I'm excited.
Okay, so let me ask about Omaha real quick here. Today, 2 years ago, Arkansas beats Florida to go to the College World Series Finals. And I remember that as really just one of the pinnacles of my experience in college baseball. What do you remember from that game, that day, and the feeling that you and the rest of the team had?
I'm pretty sure Isaiah Campbell was the dude that day.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of the start of him being the dude into that next year. He came out and shoved, and that kind of set the tone. We were going up against, was it Singer? I'm pretty sure it was Singer, and we had hit him well early on in the year. So we had a lot of confidence in that our bats were going to do a lot. And then Eric Cole making a team over the stands. Those are the things I remember of that game. But it's just unbelievable feelings to be along for that ride. And first time in Omaha, it was incredible.
It really was. It was. Let's get back there next year, Casey. I really hope we do.
Absolutely.
Whatever does happen next season, though, I'll be looking forward to watching you in that Arkansas uniform. Thanks for your time.
You're the man, Casey.
Absolutely, boys. I appreciate it.
You got it. Casey Opitz, Arkansas catcher, team captain. And you can hear it. You can hear it in his voice. Doesn't he always kind of sound like he's got the corners up? He's got a smile.
Me and him could be good friends.
Probably could. Probably could. Could you put the Tools of Ignorance on too, SmackDown?
I give her my best shot.
Oh, boy.